35,000. That is the number of decisions your brain made today. Not last week, not this month, today. Before you even sat down to dinner, your mind processed 35,000 individual choices, from the moment your alarm went off to the shirt you picked to the words you typed in an email you barely remember sending. And here is the part that should terrify you. According to research from Cornell University, you are not consciously aware of roughly 95% of them. Right now, as you listen to this, your brain is collapsing under a weight it was never designed to carry. You feel it every single day. That fog that rolls in by 2 in the afternoon. That strange exhaustion at the end of a workday where you somehow accomplished nothing that actually mattered. That moment when you pick up your phone for the 11th time in an hour, not because you need to, but because your mind is screaming for a hit of something, anything, to make the noise stop. You are not lazy. Let me say that again so it lands. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You do not lack discipline. What you lack is an operating system built for the world you actually live in. Now here is where it gets interesting, and I need you to pay very close attention to this next part, because it changes the entire equation. Think about it this way. Imagine running the most advanced software on the planet on a computer from 2005. That is exactly what is happening inside your skull right now. Your brain's core architecture, the hardware that governs how you make decisions, how you focus, how you manage energy, was built for a world where the biggest daily decision was which berry bush looked safe to eat. It was not designed for an environment where you are bombarded with more information before breakfast than a person in the 15th century encountered in their entire lifetime. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that the average person's cognitive load has increased by roughly 300% over the last 2 decades. 300%. Your hardware did not get an upgrade. The demands did. Let that sink in for a moment. Your grandfather made maybe a few hundred conscious decisions in a day. What to eat, where to go, what to do at work. You are making 35,000. And your brain, the same brain that evolved to handle the decision load of a farmer in a small village, is now being asked to process the informational equivalent of a Wall Street trading floor. Every single day. And here is the part that nobody in the productivity industry wants to admit, because it would put most of them out of business. The solution is not a better to-do list. It is not another morning routine video. It is not a motivational speech that gives you chills for 45 minutes before you go right back to your old patterns. Those are band-aids on a structural problem. And this is where most people make the fatal mistake. They blame themselves. They scroll through motivational quotes on Instagram at midnight. They buy another planner. They tell themselves that tomorrow will be different, because tomorrow they will finally have enough willpower to push through. But willpower is not the answer. Willpower was never the answer. A landmark study from the University of Pennsylvania tracked over 2,000 professionals for 18 months and found something that shattered the conventional self-help narrative. The people who consistently performed at the highest levels did not have more willpower than everyone else. They had less need for it. Read that again. They had less need for it. They had built systems, routines, and mental architectures that made the right decisions automatic. They did not white-knuckle their way through the day. They had upgraded their operating system. And that is the difference between the people who are slowly drowning and the people who seem to glide through life with an almost unfair advantage. It is not talent. It is not genetics. It is not some magical reserve of discipline that you missed out on. The average professional starts their morning in full reaction mode. The alarm goes off. They hit snooze. They reach for their phone. Within the first 90 seconds of consciousness, before their prefrontal cortex has even come fully online, they have already surrendered the architecture of their entire day to someone else's agenda. Emails, notifications, news alerts. Someone else's emergency becomes their first thought. And from that moment forward, they are playing defense. The top performers, the ones who seem to operate on a different frequency, they do something radically different. They treat the first 20 minutes of their day as sacred neurological territory. No phone, no input, no reaction. They understand something that most people will never grasp. The first decisions you make in the morning do not just affect your morning. They set the neurochemical blueprint for your entire day. Stanford's neuroscience department published findings showing that cortisol patterns established in the first 30 minutes after waking predict decision quality for the next 12 to 16 hours. Your morning is not just a morning. It is the foundation of everything. But we will get much deeper into that in a later chapter. For now, I need you to understand something fundamental, something that changes everything. The problem is not you. The problem is the mismatch between the world you live in and the brain you are using to navigate it. Every time you feel guilty for procrastinating, every time you beat yourself up for scrolling when you should be working, every time you wonder why you cannot seem to focus for more than a few minutes, you are punishing yourself for a hardware problem. That is like screaming at your phone for being slow when you have 200 apps running in the background. The phone is not the problem. The load is. And the solution is not to try harder. The solution is to upgrade the system. That is exactly what this audiobook is going to do. Over the next 9 chapters, you are going to learn a precise, science-backed protocol for rewiring the way your brain processes information, makes decisions, and manages energy. This is not theory. This is not motivational fluff designed to make you feel good for 20 minutes before you go back to doom scrolling. This is a systematic upgrade, step by step. Protocol by protocol. You are going to learn how to take control of your dopamine system so that difficult tasks become something your brain craves rather than avoids. You are going to build what I call cognitive armor, an unshakable shield of focus that protects you from the relentless bombardment of distractions that are designed, engineered, by some of the smartest people on the planet to steal your attention. You are going to discover why keeping your goals a secret might be the single most powerful habit change you ever make. And you are going to confront yourself, honestly, brutally, in the mirror, and decide whether the evidence of your current life matches the story you keep telling yourself. But here is my warning, and I mean this. This is not a comfortable book. This is not a book for everyone. If you are looking for someone to tell you that positive affirmations and vision boards are all you need, close this right now. If you want to be comforted and told that everything will work out if you just believe hard enough, find something softer. This book is for the person who is tired of lying to themselves. The person who looks at the gap between their potential and their reality and feels not just frustration but rage. The person who is ready to hear the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, because they have finally realized that comfort is what got them here in the first place. I am not going to pat you on the back and tell you that everything is okay. Everything is not okay. If it were, you would not be listening right now. You clicked on this because something in your life is not working and you know it. So we are going to be honest with each other. I am going to challenge you. I am going to strip away the excuses. And in return, I am going to give you the exact tools, the exact frameworks, and the exact daily protocols that will fundamentally change how your brain operates. You do not need more information. You have had access to more information than any generation in human history, and it has not saved you. What you need is a new operating system. The installation begins now. But before we can build the new system, we need to understand the single most powerful force that has been sabotaging you from the inside. It is not your boss. It is not your schedule. It is not your environment. It is a tiny molecule that your brain produces every single day. And right now, it is working against you. In the next chapter, you will discover how this molecule has been hijacked, who did it, and exactly how to take it back. Chapter 2, the Dopamine Trap. Here is something that almost nobody is telling you, and the ones who are telling you are getting it wrong. Dopamine is not a pleasure chemical. That is the biggest lie in popular neuroscience, and it has been repeated so many times that it has become accepted truth. But it is wrong. And that misunderstanding is costing you your focus, your energy, and quite possibly your future. Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford University's Department of Neurobiology has spent years clarifying what dopamine actually does. Dopamine is not the chemical that makes you feel good after you get something. It is the chemical that makes you want it before you get it. Dopamine is about anticipation, craving, and pursuit. It is the neurological engine of motivation. And when you understand that distinction, every single struggle you have with procrastination, distraction, and brain fog suddenly makes perfect sense. Here's how it works. Your brain has a baseline level of dopamine. Think of it as your neurological resting state. When something exciting happens, like a notification ping, a social media like, or a sugary snack, your dopamine spikes above that baseline. You feel alert, engaged, interested. But here is the critical part that will change how you see everything. After every spike, your brain compensates by dropping your dopamine below the baseline. The higher the spike, the deeper the drop. This is not opinion. This is basic neurochemistry, confirmed by research from the National Institute on Drug Abuse and replicated across dozens of studies. Your brain is always trying to maintain balance, a state neuroscientists call homeostasis. Every time you flood your system with cheap, easy dopamine, your brain responds by reducing your baseline. It literally turns down the volume on your ability to feel motivated by normal, everyday activities. Now think about what your typical morning looks like. You wake up. Before your feet hit the floor, you have already reached for your phone. You check messages. You scroll through social media. You watch a couple of short videos. In the first 10 minutes of your day, you have delivered a massive, unearned dopamine spike to a brain that has not done a single meaningful thing yet. And the result? Your baseline drops. Hard tasks now feel harder. Boring but important work feels unbearable. Your attention span shrinks because your brain has already been trained. In the first 10 minutes, that reward comes easy and fast. This is what I call the dopamine trap. And it is the most sophisticated hijacking of human psychology in the history of our species. Let me give you a concrete example of how devastating this is. Imagine two people starting their morning. Person A wakes up and immediately checks Instagram. 30 seconds of scrolling delivers a rapid series of dopamine spikes from novel images, social comparison, and variable rewards. Their baseline drops. By the time they sit down at their desk 30 minutes later, their brain is already in a depleted state. Opening a spreadsheet feels like lifting a boulder. Writing a report feels like running through quicksand. They reach for coffee. They check their phone again. The cycle deepens. Person B wakes up and does not touch their phone. They drink water. They sit down and write for 30 minutes on their most important project. Their brain is working hard, and the dopamine it releases is earned, tied to genuine progress. When they finish, they feel clear, alert, capable. The difficult tasks on their calendar do not feel like punishment. They feel like the natural next step. Same brain, same neurotransmitter, completely different relationship to it. And the gap between these two people compounds every single day until 6 months later, they are living in entirely different realities. The engineers at the largest technology companies in the world know exactly what they are doing. Former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris has spoken extensively about how notification systems, infinite scroll features, and variable reward mechanisms are deliberately modeled after slot machine psychology. Your phone is not a tool. It is a dopamine delivery device. And every time you use it without intention, you are making a withdrawal from your motivational bank account. Now let me show you the difference between the people who are trapped and the people who have broken free. The average person uses dopamine like a credit card with no limit. They binge content. They check their phone between every task. They reward themselves before they have earned anything. By noon, their dopamine baseline has been so depleted that even simple decisions feel overwhelming. This is where brain fog comes from. This is why you feel exhausted at 3 in the afternoon, even though you have been sitting at a desk. Your brain is not tired from working. It is tired from spiking and crashing all day long. The top performers treat dopamine like a strategic investment. They delay their first dopamine hit of the day by 60 to 90 minutes. They front-load difficult, meaningful work during the window when their baseline is naturally highest. They understand that boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the price of maintaining a healthy baseline. They earn their dopamine through effort, and because of that, their brains stay calibrated. Difficult tasks do not feel impossible. They feel engaging, even satisfying. This is not speculation. A 2022 study published in Molecular Psychiatry demonstrated that individuals who practiced deliberate dopamine management, specifically delaying gratification and reducing high-stimulus activities in the morning, showed measurably higher sustained attention and lower rates of decision fatigue over a 30-day period. The effect was not small. It was significant enough that the researchers described it as comparable to the cognitive benefits of regular physical exercise. So here is the practical question. How do you start reclaiming your dopamine system? The first step is what I call the 90-minute shield. For the first 90 minutes after you wake up, you do not touch your phone for anything other than turning off the alarm. No social media, no email, no news, nothing that delivers an unearned spike. During that window, you engage in effortful activity. A workout, deep work on your most important project, journaling, something that requires your brain to actively engage rather than passively consume. This single practice does something extraordinary to your neurochemistry. It teaches your brain that reward comes after effort, not before. Over the course of 2 to 3 weeks, your baseline begins to recalibrate. Tasks that once felt impossible start to feel manageable. Your attention span begins to extend. That 2 in the afternoon fog starts to thin. The second step is to identify and eliminate what I call phantom rewards. These are the microdopamine hits you give yourself throughout the day without realizing it. Checking your phone between tasks, browsing during a meeting, opening a new tab just to see what is happening in the world. Each one of these feels insignificant, but neurologically, they are devastating. McKinsey's workplace productivity research estimates that the average knowledge worker loses 2.1 hours per day to these micro-interruptions, not because of the time spent, but because of the cognitive switching cost. Each interruption forces your prefrontal cortex to disengage, reorient, and re-engage. That process costs glucose, attention, and yes, dopamine. I want you to try something tomorrow, just as an experiment. Put a small notebook next to your computer and make a tally mark every single time you reach for your phone or open a browser tab that is not related to your current task. Do not try to stop the behavior. Just count it. Most people who do this exercise for the first time are genuinely shocked. The number is usually between 40 and 80 times in an 8-hour workday. 40 to 80 unplanned dopamine microhits, each one depleting your baseline a little more. Each one making the next hour of work feel a little harder. When you see the number in black and white, the pattern becomes undeniable. And that undeniability is the first step toward changing it. Here is the elite move. Batch your dopamine. Designate specific times during the day when you consume high-stimulus content. Maybe it is 30 minutes after lunch. Maybe it is an hour in the evening. But outside those windows, your consumption is zero. You are not depriving yourself. You are scheduling your reward. And in doing so, you are telling your brain exactly when to spike and when to stay stable. This is dopamine management, not dopamine elimination. Not some extreme detox where you sit in a dark room for 72 hours. That approach is unsustainable and, frankly, misses the point entirely. The goal is not to remove dopamine from your life. Dopamine is essential. It drives you forward. The goal is to become the architect of when, how, and why your dopamine spikes, instead of letting your environment control it for you. And now that you understand the trap, there is something even more dangerous that we need to talk about. Something that most people do every single day, believing it helps them achieve their goals, when in reality, it is silently destroying their chances. You are about to learn why the most successful people on the planet keep their biggest ambitions locked in a vault. And why the moment you tell someone your goal, your brain has already decided you have achieved it. Chapter 3. The Silence Protocol. Here is a paradox that will challenge everything you have been taught about accountability and goal setting. The most successful people you will ever study share one strange habit. They do not talk about their goals. They do not post their ambitions on social media. They do not tell their friends about the big project they are starting. They work in silence. And there is a devastating neurological reason why. In 2009, New York University psychologist Peter Gollwitzer published a study in the journal Psychological Science that sent shockwaves through the self-help industry. He found that people who announced their goals to others were significantly less likely to achieve them than people who kept their goals private. And the reason was not about accountability. It was about dopamine. When you tell someone your goal and they respond positively, your brain registers that social acknowledgement as partial completion. Your nucleus accumbens, the brain's reward center, fires as though you have already made progress. You get a dopamine hit for something you have not done. And here is the devastating consequence. That premature reward reduces your drive to actually do the work. Your brain, which cannot distinguish between the feeling of progress and actual progress, becomes satisfied. The urgency fades. The hunger dulls. This is what I call dopamine hijacking through social validation. And it is one of the most dangerous, invisible habits in modern culture. Think about how pervasive this is. You decide to start a new fitness routine. What is the first thing you do? You tell someone. You post about it. You get likes. You get comments saying how amazing you are for starting. And that night, when you are supposed to go to the gym, something feels different. The fire is lower. The urgency is gone. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes never. The average person broadcasts their intentions like a loudspeaker. They mistake talking about their goals for working toward them. They share their plans at dinner parties. They update their social media with aspirational declarations. Every share, every response, every thumbs up delivers a microdose of unearned reward. And with each dose, the gap between their ambition and their action grows wider. The elite operate under what I call the silence protocol. They understand that silence is not passive. It is strategic. Keeping your goals private creates a neurological vacuum. A gap between where you are and where you want to be that your brain is compelled to fill with action rather than words. Without the premature reward of social validation, the only way to satisfy the dopamine drive is to actually do the work. A study from the University of Zurich's psychology department confirmed this mechanism. Participants who kept their intentions private showed 41% higher task completion rates over a 90-day period compared to those who shared publicly. 41%. That is not a marginal difference. That is the difference between the person who writes the book and the person who talks about writing a book for the rest of their life. So here's the protocol. Starting today, any goal that matters to you, any real ambition, any project that could change the trajectory of your life, you keep it locked. You do not post it. You do not share it at coffee with friends. You do not announce it at a team meeting unless operational necessity requires it. The only person who needs to know is you. There is an exception, and it is important. You can share your goals with one, and only one, accountability partner, but only under strict conditions. That person must not provide emotional validation. Their only role is to ask one question on a set schedule. Did you do it? Yes or no? No praise, no encouragement, no consolation, just the binary. Did you do the work? This removes the social reward contamination while preserving genuine accountability. I know what some of you are thinking, but what about the power of accountability? What about telling people so they hold you to it? The research is clear. Public accountability works only when the social consequence of failure is immediate and severe. For most people, in most situations, there is no real consequence when they fail to follow through on something they announced. Your friends will not call you out. Your followers will forget, and your brain knows this. Here is a thought experiment that will make this crystal clear. Imagine you announced a goal on social media tomorrow. Let us say you declared that you were going to run a marathon in 6 months. You would get 50 likes, 20 comments of encouragement, and a rush of dopamine that made you feel like a champion. Now imagine 6 months pass and you never ran a single mile. What happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nobody holds you accountable. Nobody calls you out. The announcement existed in a vacuum of social politeness, and your brain collected the reward without ever paying the price. Now compare that to the person who told nobody, laced up their shoes in silence, and ran their first painful mile on a cold Tuesday morning with 0 witnesses. Which one of them is more likely to be standing at that start line in 6 months? The evidence is overwhelming, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The silence protocol is not about isolation. It is about protecting the neurological fuel that drives execution. Every time you resist the urge to share, you are banking that dopamine for the actual work. You are keeping the fire burning instead of letting it escape through conversation. Here is a practical test. Think about the last 3 goals you announced publicly, whether on social media, to friends, or to family. How many of them did you follow through on fully? If you are honest, the answer for most people is 0 or 1 out of 3. Now think about the things you have accomplished in your life that you never told anyone about until they were done. The quiet projects, the private commitments. How many of those did you finish? The pattern speaks for itself. The silence protocol has a secondary benefit that most people do not expect. It filters your circle. When you stop broadcasting your ambitions, you quickly discover who in your life actually notices your results versus who only responded to your announcements. The people who notice your changed behavior without you saying a word are the ones worth keeping close. The ones who only engage when you are performing for attention are distractions wearing the costume of support. Now, some of you listening right now are already uncomfortable. Good. That discomfort is the sound of a deeply ingrained habit being challenged. The need to share, to be seen, to receive validation. It is one of the most powerful social drives in the human brain. Overriding it requires something even more powerful. It requires identity. And that brings us to the next critical upgrade. Because managing your dopamine and protecting your goals with silence will not be enough if, every morning, you are losing the first battle of the day before you even know it has started. In the next chapter, you will learn why the moment your alarm goes off, a war begins inside your brain, and why the next 6 seconds determine whether you win or lose the entire day. Chapter 4: The Morning Battle. A neuroscience study from the University of Nottingham tracked 471 professionals over 6 months and discovered something that most productivity experts have completely overlooked. The single strongest predictor of a person's daily performance was not their to-do list, their calendar, their workload, or their motivation level. It was what they did in the first 6 seconds after their alarm went off. 6 seconds. That is the window. In those 6 seconds, your brain is in a transitional state between sleep inertia and waking consciousness. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making, willpower, and long-term planning, is not fully online yet. But your limbic system, the emotional, comfort-seeking, threat-avoiding primitive brain, is wide awake and screaming. And in that moment, it presents you with the most seductive offer of the day. Just 5 more minutes. When you hit the snooze button, you are not just delaying your morning by 5 minutes. You are making a neurological declaration. You are telling your brain that comfort is more important than commitment. And your brain listens. It records that decision. It files it under your identity. And for the rest of the day, every time you face a choice between what is easy and what is necessary, your brain references that first decision as a template. Stanford behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg has described this pattern as decision cascading. The first decision of the day creates a psychological momentum that influences every subsequent decision. If that first decision is a surrender, the cascade tilts towards surrender all day. If that first decision is a victory, even a small one, the cascade tilts toward victory. Here is the data behind this. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology tracked decision-making patterns across 500 participants and found that people who began their day with a single act of self-discipline, even something as simple as making their bed, made measurably better decisions throughout the rest of the day. The early win created a psychological template that said, "I am in control today." And that template influenced everything from food choices to work productivity to impulse control in the evening. The researchers called it a keystone behavior, a single action that triggers a cascade of positive downstream effects. Your alarm is your keystone, and you are either forging the key or breaking it every single morning. This is why I call it the morning battle, because it is a battle. It is your rational, future-oriented self versus your emotional, comfort-seeking self. And the battlefield is your bed. The average person loses this battle every single morning without ever realizing a fight took place. They hit snooze once, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times. Then they reach for their phone. Within 2 minutes of consciousness, they have surrendered twice, once to comfort and once to external input. Their cortisol rises from the stress of notifications. Their dopamine spikes from social media. And their prefrontal cortex, which is still booting up, gets hijacked before it can establish any executive control. The top performers treat the morning like sacred neurological territory. Their feet hit the floor within seconds of the alarm. Not because they feel like it. They almost never feel like it. But because they have trained themselves to understand that feelings are irrelevant. Identity is what matters. They are the kind of person who gets up when the alarm goes off. Period. Here's the protocol. The morning battle has 3 phases, and each one is non-negotiable. Phase 1 is the 6-second rule. When the alarm sounds, you have 6 seconds to get your feet on the floor. Not 10, not 30. 6. Count backward in your head. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, feet on floor. This countdown activates your prefrontal cortex by giving it a simple, immediate task. It overrides the limbic system's protest by occupying the decision-making channel with a command rather than a negotiation. Phase 2 is the 90-minute shield, which you learned about in the previous chapter. No phone for the first 90 minutes. No email. No social media. No passive input of any kind. This window is reserved for one thing: effortful, meaningful action. A workout, deep work, strategic thinking. Something that forces your brain to engage actively. Phase 3 is what I call the intention anchor. Before you consume a single piece of external information, you write down, by hand, on paper, the single most important thing you will accomplish today. Not 3 things, not 5 things, 1 thing. This practice, supported by research from Dominican University of California, showing that people who write their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them, creates a neural anchor that your brain references throughout the day. It is your compass before the storm of information hits. There is a reason I specify by hand, on paper. Typing is processed differently by the brain than handwriting. A study from Princeton University and UCLA found that people who take notes by hand engage deeper cognitive processing and retain significantly more information than those who type. When you write your intention by hand, you are not just recording it. You are encoding it into your neural architecture with a depth that typing simply cannot achieve. Let me tell you what happens to people who implement the morning battle consistently for 30 days. This is not theory. This is the pattern I see again and again. The first week is brutal. Your limbic system revolts. The snooze button screams at you. The phone calls to you from the other room. Every morning feels like a fight you are barely winning. The second week, something shifts. It does not get easy, but the resistance decreases. Your brain begins to recognize the pattern. Get up. No phone. One intention. Work. The third week, something extraordinary happens. You start waking up before the alarm. Not because you slept less, but because your brain has recalibrated its circadian rhythm around your new identity. By the fourth week, the morning battle is no longer a battle. It is simply who you are. When you stack these 3 phases together, something remarkable happens neurologically. Your cortisol follows a healthy natural curve instead of a stress-triggered spike. Your dopamine remains at a stable, high baseline because you have not depleted it with cheap hits. And your prefrontal cortex has had time to fully come online and establish executive control before it has to deal with the chaos of the outside world. The morning battle is not about willpower. It is about architecture. You are not trying to be tougher than your emotions. You are building a structure that makes the right decisions automatic. And once you have won the morning, you have built the foundation for everything else. But winning the morning is just the beginning. The rest of the day is a war zone of distractions, notifications, and attention thieves that are designed to breach your defenses. In the next chapter, you're going to build something that most people do not even know exists. An invisible, unshakable shield around your focus that protects you from everything the modern world throws at you. I call it cognitive armor. And once you have it, the rules of the game change entirely. Chapter 5: Building Cognitive Armor. Let me take you 1 year into the future. There are 2 versions of you standing at that point. The first version is exhausted, scattered, still promising themselves that next Monday will be different. Their attention is fractured across a dozen tabs. Their phone is buzzing with notifications they cannot ignore, and they end every day with the same hollow feeling that they were busy but accomplished nothing meaningful. The second version is calm, focused, dangerous in the best possible way. They sit down to work and the world disappears. They produce in 2 hours what most people struggle to produce in 8. Not because they are smarter, because they are shielded. The difference between these two versions of you is not motivation. It is not a productivity app. It is what I call cognitive armor. Here is the science behind it. Your prefrontal cortex, the seat of focus and executive function, operates on a limited resource model. A study from the University of London found that constant exposure to digital interruptions reduces your effective IQ by an average of 10 points. That is more than double the cognitive impact of missing a night of sleep. Every notification, every ping, every environmental distraction does not just steal your attention for a moment. It degrades the quality of your thinking for the next 20 to 25 minutes. This is what neuroscientists call attention residue, a term coined by Dr. Sophie Leroy at the University of Washington. When your attention shifts, part of your cognitive processing power remains stuck on the previous stimulus. You are never fully here. You are always partially somewhere else. Cognitive armor is a systematic approach to eliminating, not reducing, eliminating the interruptions that degrade your cognitive performance. It operates on 3 layers. Layer 1 is environmental fortification. This is the physical architecture of your workspace. Your phone is not on your desk. It is in another room, not on silent, not face down, in another room. A study published in the Journal of the Association for Consumer Research found that the mere presence of a smartphone, even when turned off, reduces available cognitive capacity. Your brain expends energy simply resisting the temptation to check it. Remove the temptation, and you reclaim that energy instantly. Your workspace has exactly one screen open with exactly one task. No second monitor displaying email. No browser tabs waiting in the background. The visual environment directly shapes your cognitive state. Clutter is not an aesthetic problem. It is a neurological tax. Layer 2 is temporal architecture. This is how you structure your time to protect deep focus. You designate specific blocks. I recommend 90-minute blocks based on the natural ultradian rhythm research from the Parrots-Levy lab, during which absolutely no external communication is permitted. No meetings, no Slack, no quick questions. These blocks are sacred. They are the periods when your most important cognitive work happens. Everything else gets badged into the gaps between them. Here is a number that should shock you. Gloria Mark, a researcher at the University of California, Irvine, found that the average knowledge worker is interrupted every 3 minutes and 5 seconds. 3 minutes. And after each interruption, it takes 23 minutes to return to the same depth of focus. Do the math. If you are interrupted even 10 times in a morning, you have not had a single moment of true, deep focus all day. You have spent the entire morning swimming to the surface, gasping for air, and being pulled back down. This is why most people feel exhausted at the end of the day despite accomplishing nothing meaningful. They were never actually working. They were managing interruptions. And managing interruptions is not work. It is a sophisticated form of treading water. The average professional allows their day to be chopped into 15-minute fragments by meetings, emails, and interruptions. They never enter a deep focus state because they are never given the uninterrupted runway required to reach it. Research from the University of California, Irvine found that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully regain focus after an interruption. If you are interrupted every 15 minutes, you are never focused. You are living in a permanent state of attention residue. Layer 3 is cognitive load management. This is the invisible layer, the one that most people never even consider. It involves reducing the number of decisions your brain has to make about irrelevant things so that maximum processing power is available for what matters. This is why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day. This is why many elite performers eat the same breakfast every morning, follow the same warm-up routine, and automate every possible low-stakes decision. Each decision you eliminate from your day, no matter how small, frees cognitive resources for the decisions that actually matter. The practical application is this. Audit your typical day and identify every recurring decision that does not require creative thought. What to wear, what to eat for lunch, which route to take to work, when to check email. Systematize every single one of them. Create defaults. Build routines. The goal is to arrive at your most important work with a full cognitive tank, not one that has already been drained by 50 meaningless choices. Here is a simple framework for the audit. Take a piece of paper and draw 2 columns. On the left, write every decision you made yesterday, no matter how small. On the right, mark each one as either creative, meaning it required original thought and judgment, or mechanical, meaning it could be automated with a default rule. For most people, 80 to 90% of their daily decisions fall into the mechanical category. Those are your targets. Every one of them that you convert into an automatic default is cognitive fuel returned to your tank for the work that actually matters. I will give you a specific example. Email. The average professional checks email 77 times per day, according to a study from the Radicati Group. Each check involves multiple micro-decisions. Open or skip, reply now or later. How to respond, archive or flag. That is hundreds of micro-decisions per day spent on a task that, for most people, is not their primary job. The cognitive armor approach is to batch email into 2 or 3 fixed windows per day. You check at 10 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 4 in the afternoon. Outside those windows, your email client is closed. Not minimized, closed. The decisions are batched, the interruptions are eliminated, and your cognitive load drops dramatically. When you stack these 3 layers, environmental fortification, temporal architecture, and cognitive load management, you have built cognitive armor. And the effect is not subtle. A study by the Drogium Group, tracking employee productivity across multiple industries, found that the highest performing workers did not work longer hours. They worked in focused bursts with eliminated distractions. Their output per hour was 312% higher than their peers. Not 12%, 312. This is the unfair advantage. While everyone else is drowning in noise, you are operating inside a fortress of focus. And from inside that fortress, difficult work does not feel like a battle. It feels like a craft. But here is the truth that makes all of this stick. You can build the best armor in the world, but if the person wearing it does not believe they are worth defending, it will fall apart. In the next chapter, we are going to address the deepest layer of all. Not what you do, not how you do it, but who you believe you are. Because identity is the operating system behind the operating system. And until you upgrade that, nothing else holds. Chapter 6, Identity over Mood. Here is the most dangerous sentence in the English language. I do not feel like it. That single sentence has destroyed more dreams, buried more potential, and wasted more human years than any failure, setback, or external obstacle ever could. And the reason it is so dangerous is that it sounds reasonable. It sounds honest. It sounds like self-awareness. But it is a trap. One of the most sophisticated traps your brain has ever designed. You have been told your entire life that motivation matters, that you need to feel inspired before you act, that the right mood creates the right action. This is a lie, and it is a lie that keeps billions of people stuck in a permanent cycle of waiting. Waiting for Monday, waiting for the new year, waiting until they feel ready. Here is what the research actually shows. A meta-analysis from the University of Scranton reviewing over a decade of behavior change studies found that feelings-based action, meaning action taken only when motivation is present, has a success rate of approximately 8% over 12 months. 8%. That means 92 out of every 100 people who wait until they feel like it will fail within a year. Now compare that to identity-based action. Dr. James Clear, drawing on research from behavioral psychology, has demonstrated that when people frame their actions as expressions of identity rather than products of motivation, their consistency rates increase dramatically. The shift is subtle but seismic. Instead of saying I want to run, you say I am a runner. Instead of I should eat healthy, you say I am someone who fuels their body with intention. Instead of I need to focus, you say I am the kind of person who does deep work. This is the principle of identity congruence, and it is the most powerful framework in this entire audiobook. Here is why it works neurologically. Your brain has a deeply embedded need for self-consistency. Social psychologists call this the consistency principle, and it is one of the most robust findings in the field. When you define yourself as a certain type of person, your brain actively works to align your behavior with that definition. It creates what neuroscientists call a cognitive dissonance gap, when your actions contradict your identity, and that gap is uncomfortable enough to drive corrective behavior without any need for external motivation. Think about what this means practically. If your identity is "I am a focused worker," and you find yourself mindlessly scrolling your phone during a work block, your brain generates discomfort. Not because you broke a rule, because you violated your identity. And that discomfort, that internal friction, is far more powerful than any external accountability system. It does not require a coach. It does not require an app. It does not require someone watching over your shoulder. It is self-generating and self-correcting. Your brain does the enforcement work for you. This is why people with strong religious, military, or professional identities often exhibit remarkable consistency in their behavior regardless of external circumstances. Their identity is so clearly defined that deviation feels physically uncomfortable. You are going to build the same mechanism, intentionally, around the behaviors that matter most to your upgrade. The average person makes decisions based on their current emotional state. They feel tired, so they skip the gym. They feel uninspired, so they put off the project. They feel anxious, so they reach for their phone. Every decision is a referendum on how they feel in that moment. And because feelings are inherently unstable, their behavior is inherently inconsistent. The elite make decisions based on their identity. The question is never, do I feel like going to the gym? The question is, does the person I am committed to being go to the gym today? And the answer is always yes, regardless of how they feel. Because moods are temporary. They change with sleep quality, blood sugar levels, weather, and 100 other variables you cannot control. But identity is a choice. And it is a choice you make once, and then your behavior follows. Here is the practical application. Take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and write one sentence. I am the kind of person who, and finish it with the single most important behavioral identity you want to build. Not a goal, an identity. Not I want to wake up early. Instead, I am someone who owns their morning. Not I want to be more focused. Instead, I am a person who protects their attention like it is their most valuable asset. Read that sentence every morning. Before the phone, before the email, before the world gets a chance to tell you who you are. You tell yourself first. Here is what makes this so powerful. Over time, the gap between the statement and your behavior closes. And every time it closes, even by a fraction, your brain records it. The neural pathways associated with that identity strengthen. The competing pathways, the ones connected to your old, reactive, mood-driven self, weaken. This is not metaphor. This is literally how neuroplasticity works at the cellular level. Neurons that fire together wire together. The more often you act from your chosen identity, the more automatic it becomes. I want to share something with you that will demonstrate just how deep this goes. A study from the European Journal of Social Psychology found that the average time to form a new automatic behavior, what most people call a habit, is 66 days. But here is the critical detail that most people miss. The study also found that missing a single day did not reset the process. What mattered was not perfection. What mattered was the general trend. The identity-based approach is inherently more resilient than the willpower-based approach because it does not require a perfect streak. It requires a consistent pattern of returning to who you have decided to be. And then, throughout the day, when the moments of resistance come, and they will come, you do not ask yourself what you feel like doing. You ask yourself, what would the person I am committed to being do right now? And you do that, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Because every time you act in alignment with your identity against the pull of your emotions, you are not just completing a task. You are reinforcing the neural pathways that make that identity more automatic. You are literally rewiring yourself into the person you described on that piece of paper. This is not positive thinking. This is neurological engineering. And it is the difference between people who change temporarily and people who change permanently. But identity does not get forged in comfort. And this is where most people hit a wall. They build the morning routine. They manage their dopamine. They protect their focus. And then, the moment something gets truly difficult, the moment real pressure arrives, they retreat to the old patterns. In the next chapter, you're going to learn why that pressure, the very thing you have been avoiding, is the only environment where your brain actually grows stronger, and why the comfort zone is not a safe place. It is a slowly closing trap. Chapter 7: The Pressure Forge. You have been lied to about comfort. The entire architecture of modern life is designed to convince you that the goal is to be comfortable. Comfortable chair, comfortable temperature, comfortable routine, comfortable career trajectory that never asks too much of you. And your brain loves it. The limbic system, your brain's primitive survival engine, is engineered to seek comfort and avoid threat. That was useful when threats meant predators and starvation. But in the modern world, that same wiring is destroying you. Here is what comfort actually does to your brain. Neuroscientists at the University of Texas at Dallas studied cognitive performance in adults over a 2-year period and found something that should alarm everyone listening to this. Participants who consistently avoided challenging mental tasks showed measurable declines in cognitive function, even in their 20s and 30s. Their neural networks were not just stagnant, they were degrading. The brain operates on a simple principle: use it in demanding ways or lose it. This is the pressure principle, and it is the 7th core upgrade in your brain's new operating system. Your brain does not grow in comfort. It does not build new neural pathways when everything is easy. It grows when it is challenged, when it is forced to adapt, when the demands placed on it exceed its current capacity by just enough to trigger neuroplastic change without causing collapse. The science behind this is well established. Dr. Michael Merzenich, a pioneer in neuroplasticity research at the University of California, San Francisco, has demonstrated that the brain rewires most aggressively in response to tasks that sit at the edge of current ability. Not tasks that are comfortable, not tasks that are overwhelming, tasks that are just difficult enough to force your brain to recruit new neural networks and strengthen existing ones. This is what athletes call the training zone. Lift a weight that is too light, and your muscles do not grow. Lift a weight that is too heavy, and you injure yourself. Lift a weight that challenges your current capacity by the right margin, and growth is inevitable. Your brain works exactly the same way. The average person spends their entire career avoiding cognitive pressure. They stick to tasks they already know how to do. They avoid presentations that make them nervous. They delegate the difficult thinking to someone else. They choose the path of least resistance at every fork. And over time, their brain adapts to that low demand, not by staying the same, but by actively weakening. Neural pathways that are not used are pruned. Cognitive capacity that is not challenged is gradually dismantled. The elite actively seek pressure. They volunteer for the project that scares them. They take on responsibilities that exceed their current skill level. They do the thing that makes their palms sweat, not because they enjoy discomfort, but because they understand that discomfort is the biological signal of growth. When you feel that resistance, that anxiety before a difficult task, that knot in your stomach, your brain is telling you that it is about to be forced to adapt. That feeling is not a warning to stop. It is a signal that you are in the growth zone. And here is the practical truth that ties this to everything you have learned so far. Pressure is the training ground for your new identity. Remember Chapter 6. You are the kind of person who. That statement is meaningless if it is never tested. Identity is not forged in the moments when things are easy. It is forged in the moments when everything inside you is screaming to quit, and you do the thing anyway. Each time you push through voluntary discomfort, you are not just building cognitive resilience. You are generating proof for your new identity. The mirror test at the end of the week does not ask how you felt. It asks what you did. And if what you did includes choosing the hard path, that evidence is irrefutable. Here is the protocol. Every single day, do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. Not reckless, not dangerous, uncomfortable. It could be a difficult conversation you have been avoiding, a cold shower first thing in the morning, a deep work session on a problem you do not yet know how to solve, a phone call you have been putting off. The key is voluntary hardship. There is a critical distinction between pressure that is imposed on you, which triggers stress and cortisol without growth, and pressure that you choose, which triggers the precise neurochemical cocktail that promotes adaptation. Research from Harvard's Department of Psychology, led by Dr. Ali Akram, has shown that the way you frame stress determines its physiological impact. When you view pressure as a threat, your body responds with vasoconstriction, reduced cognitive function, and elevated cortisol. When you view pressure as a challenge you have chosen, your body responds with vasodilation, enhanced cognitive performance, and a healthy cortisol curve that promotes learning. Same pressure, completely different neurological outcome. The difference is not the situation. It is your relationship to it. Let me give you a framework for applying this practically. I call it the daily pressure dose. Each morning, as part of your intention anchor practice, you identify one thing on your plate that you have been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable. Not impossible, uncomfortable. Maybe it is a sales call that makes you nervous. Maybe it is a piece of writing that requires deep, effortful thought. Maybe it is a physical workout that pushes beyond your current capacity. Whatever it is, you do that thing first, before the easy tasks, before the comfortable work. You front-load the pressure when your cognitive resources are at their peak. There is a compounding effect to this practice that is almost invisible at first, but becomes undeniable over months. Each time you choose discomfort, your brain's threshold for what constitutes difficult shifts upward. Things that once made you anxious become routine. Things that once felt impossible become merely challenging. Your capacity, your bandwidth, your resilience, all of it expands. Not in theory, in measurable, observable reality. The person you are in 6 months of daily pressure doses is categorically different from the person you are today. This is why the pressure principle is not about suffering. It is about strategic discomfort. You are not punishing yourself. You are training your brain the same way an athlete trains their body. Controlled stress, followed by recovery, followed by adaptation. Over time, things that once felt overwhelming become manageable. Your capacity expands. Your resilience hardens. And the gap between who you are and who you want to be closes with every repetition. But there is a counterpart to pressure that most people completely ignore. And without it, all the pressure in the world will burn you out instead of building you up. In the next chapter, you are going to learn the science of microscopic wins and why the smallest possible progress, done consistently, creates the most unstoppable force in human psychology. Chapter 8: Microscopic Wins. There is a number that will redefine how you think about progress, and it is one you have probably never considered. The number is 1%. Not 1% of your goal, 1% better than yesterday. That is it. And according to research led by Dr. Teresa Amabile at Harvard Business School, tracking over 12,000 daily diary entries from 238 professionals, that tiny margin of progress is the single most powerful driver of long-term motivation and performance. Not big wins, not breakthrough moments. The small, consistent, almost invisible movement forward. Dr. Amabile called it the progress principle, and her findings were unambiguous. Of all the things that could boost emotion, motivation, and perception during a workday, the single most important was making progress on meaningful work. Even small wins, even micro steps. The effect was so reliable that it outperformed recognition, incentives, interpersonal support, and even clear goals in terms of its impact on daily motivation. This is the 8th upgrade in your operating system, and it attacks one of the most destructive patterns in modern productivity culture: the obsession with big goals. You have been taught to think big, set massive goals, dream huge, 10x your life. And while ambition is essential, here is what nobody tells you about massive goals. They are neurological poison when they are your only benchmark. Your brain evaluates your current state against your desired state and produces an emotional response. When the gap between where you are and where you want to be is enormous, the emotion your brain generates is not motivation. It is overwhelm. And overwhelm triggers the exact same avoidance response as physical threat. This is why so many ambitious people are chronically stuck. They have big dreams and zero momentum. The dream is so large that every day feels like failure because the progress relative to the goal is invisible. And in the absence of perceived progress, dopamine dries up, motivation evaporates, and they are back on the couch scrolling through someone else's highlight reel. The solution is radical simplicity. Instead of measuring yourself against the finish line, You measure yourself against yesterday. Did you do 1% more? Did you move one step forward? Did you do the thing? Even if it was the smallest possible version of the thing? The average person sets goals so large that they feel defeated before they start. They say they want to write a book, then sit down and stare at a blank page, feeling the crushing weight of 300 empty pages ahead of them. They say they want to get fit, then picture the 6 months of discipline required and decide to start Monday. Elite performers set what I call execution anchors. Micro commitments so small that they eliminate the barrier to entry entirely. Write 1 paragraph. Do 10 push-ups. Work on the project for exactly 12 minutes. That is it. And the paradox is that once you start, you almost always do more. But the commitment is small. The identity is maintained. The dopamine is earned. And the momentum builds. The psychology behind this is sometimes called the Zeigarnik effect, and it is one of the most useful quirks of human cognition. Once your brain starts a task, it creates an internal tension that wants to see the task completed. By making the start incredibly easy, you are exploiting this quirk. You said 12 minutes. Your brain sits down for 12 minutes, engages with the work, and then the Zeigarnik tension kicks in. 15 minutes later, you are still working. Not because of willpower, because your brain's natural completion drive has taken over. You tricked the resistance by making the door so small that your brain did not even recognize it as a threat. The key is to never negotiate with your brain about the commitment. The rule is the rule. Today, you write 1 paragraph. You do not have to write 2. You do not have to feel inspired. You do not have to produce anything brilliant. 1 paragraph. Done. Tomorrow, 1 paragraph. Done. And after 30 days, you look up and realize you have 30 paragraphs. That is the beginning of a book. A book that the old you, the one who stared at blank pages paralyzed by the enormity of the goal, would never have written. A study from the British Journal of Health Psychology demonstrated this beautifully. Participants who committed to a specific, small action, in this case, exercising for a minimum of 10 minutes at a set time and place, achieved a 91% adherence rate over 2 weeks. Compare that to the group that was simply motivated and informed about the benefits of exercise. Their adherence rate was 38%. The micro-commitment group was more than 2 times more effective. Not because they wanted it more, because the barrier to entry was low enough that their brain never triggered the overwhelm response. Here is your protocol. At the end of each day, before your evening routine, you answer 1 question. What was my 1% today? It could be anything. You finished a difficult email. You held your focus for 10 extra minutes. You resisted the phone during your morning block. You had a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it. You write it down. 1 sentence. And over time, that daily record becomes the most powerful motivational tool you own. Because you are not looking at how far you have to go. You are looking at the undeniable evidence of how far you have come. There is a secondary effect that makes this even more powerful. When you track your microscopic wins consistently, you create what psychologists call a mastery narrative. Your brain begins to see yourself as someone who makes progress, not someone who tries and fails, not someone who starts and stops, someone who moves forward reliably every single day. And that narrative feeds directly back into the identity congruence framework from Chapter 6. The evidence of your daily 1% becomes the proof that your new identity is real. Let me tell you what this looks like in practice after 90 days. You open that notebook or that notes app and you see 90 entries. 90 specific, concrete pieces of evidence that you showed up, that you did the work, that you chose the hard thing over the easy thing. On the days when motivation is low, when the fog rolls in, when your limbic system is screaming at you to quit, you have 90 data points that say otherwise. That record is worth more than any motivational speech ever recorded, because it is yours. You built it, 1 day at a time. This is the compound effect in its purest form. 1% better every day means you are 37 times better at the end of the year. Not theoretically, mathematically. 0.99 to the power of 365 is 0.03. 1.01 to the power of 365 is 37.78. The person who gets 1% worse each day nearly disappears. The person who gets 1% better each day becomes unstoppable. But there is one critical piece that most people neglect, and without it, even the best systems will break down. Your brain does not just upgrade during the day. The most important maintenance, the actual physical rewiring of neural connections, happens when you are asleep. And if you are treating sleep as an afterthought, you are sabotaging every single protocol you have learned so far. In the next chapter, you will discover what your brain does while you sleep, and why the hours before bed might be the most important hours of your entire upgrade routine. Chapter 9. The Night Maintenance Protocol. While you are sleeping, your brain is doing the most important work of the day, and almost no one treats it that way. Here is what happens inside your skull between the hours of 11 at night and 6 in the morning, based on research from the National Institutes of Health and the University of Rochester Medical Center. Your brain activates a system called the glymphatic system, essentially a biological power wash that flushes toxic waste products, including beta amyloid, the protein associated with Alzheimer's disease, out of your neural tissue. This system is nearly 10 times more active during sleep than during waking hours. Neuroscientist Dr. Maiken Nedergaard, who led the research team at Rochester, described sleep as the brain's version of taking out the trash. Miss a night, and the trash piles up. Miss several nights, and the accumulation begins to impair function. Over months of insufficient sleep, the damage becomes not just cognitive but structural. This is not an abstract concern. This affects you right now, today. If you slept poorly last night, the dopamine management strategies from Chapter 2 are operating at reduced capacity. Your cognitive armor from Chapter 5 has gaps in it. Your identity-based decisions from Chapter 6 require more effort because your prefrontal cortex is compromised. Sleep is not a separate system. It is the foundation that every other system in this audiobook depends on. But waste removal is only the beginning. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates the memories and skills you acquired during the day. The hippocampus replays the day's experiences and transfers critical information to the neocortex for long-term storage. Every framework you learned, every habit you practiced, every neural pathway you strengthened through your morning battle, your cognitive armor, your identity-based decisions, it all gets consolidated and reinforced during sleep. And then there is neurogenesis. During specific phases of sleep, particularly deep non-REM sleep, the brain generates new neurons in the hippocampus. Research from the Salk Institute for Biological Studies has confirmed that sleep-dependent neurogenesis is essential for learning, memory, and emotional regulation. You are not just maintaining your brain during sleep. You are literally building new hardware. This means that every protocol in this audiobook, every upgrade you install, depends on one thing: the quality of your sleep. And for most people listening right now, that quality is compromised. A 2024 report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that 1 in 3 adults in the United States does not get enough sleep. But the number is even worse than it sounds, because it only measures quantity. The real crisis is quality. You can lie in bed for 8 hours and still wake up feeling destroyed if the architecture of your sleep is wrong. Here is the night maintenance protocol. It has 3 phases. Phase 1 is the digital sunset. 90 minutes before your target sleep time, all screens go dark. This is not negotiable. The blue light emitted by phones, tablets, and computer screens suppresses melatonin production by up to 50%, according to research from Harvard Medical School. But the problem is not just the light, it is the content. Scrolling social media before bed floods your brain with novel stimuli, dopamine spikes, and emotional triggers at the exact moment when your brain should be winding down. You are injecting caffeine into a system that is trying to fall asleep. Phase 2 is the cognitive download. During the 30 minutes between your digital sunset and sleep, you perform a brain dump. You take a notebook and write down every unfinished thought, every lingering task, every worry that is circling in your mind. Research from Baylor University's Sleep and Neuroscience Lab found that participants who wrote down their to-do list before bed fell asleep an average of 9 minutes faster and experienced significantly fewer nighttime awakenings. The mechanism is elegant. Unfinished tasks create what psychologists call cognitive loops, open mental files that your brain keeps trying to process. Writing them down closes the loop. It tells your brain that the task has been captured and does not need to be held in active memory. There is a specific way to do this that maximizes its effectiveness. Do not just list your tasks. For each one, write the single next physical action required, not complete quarterly report. Instead, open the spreadsheet and update the revenue column. The specificity matters. Research on implementation intentions, pioneered by Peter Gallwitzer, the same researcher behind the Silence Protocol findings, shows that when you define the exact next action, your brain preloads the cognitive pathway needed to execute it. You wake up the next morning and your brain already knows what to do first. There is no decision to make. The decision was made last night. Phase 3 is the environmental reset. Your bedroom becomes a single-purpose environment. Sleep and nothing else. The temperature is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, the optimal range identified by the Sleep Foundation's clinical research. The room is completely dark. Not mostly dark, completely dark. Even small amounts of ambient light have been shown by Northwestern University researchers to increase heart rate, impair insulin response, and reduce the amount of time spent in restorative deep sleep. The average person treats their bedroom as a multi-purpose entertainment center. They watch television in bed. They scroll their phone until their eyes can no longer stay open. They fall asleep to a podcast. And then they wonder why they wake up feeling like they slept in a washing machine. The elite treat their sleep environment with the same precision they bring to their work environment, because they understand that sleep is not the absence of productivity. It is the foundation of it. Every hour of high-quality sleep returns multiple hours of peak cognitive performance the next day. It is not a cost. It is the highest return investment you can make. Here is a number that should change your relationship with sleep permanently. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania conducted a landmark sleep restriction study where participants were limited to 6 hours of sleep per night for 2 weeks. At the end of the study, their cognitive performance was equivalent to someone who had been awake for 48 hours straight. But here was the terrifying part. The participants did not realize how impaired they were. They rated their own cognitive function as only slightly diminished. Their brains had adapted to dysfunction and normalized it. This is what chronic sleep deprivation does. It does not just impair you, it blinds you to the impairment. If you are currently sleeping 6 hours a night and telling yourself you are fine, you are not fine. You are operating at the cognitive equivalent of someone who pulled 2 consecutive all-nighters. And you have no idea. Here is one additional practice that separates the truly disciplined from everyone else. The gratitude anchor. In the final 2 minutes before sleep, you identify 3 specific things from the day that you are genuinely grateful for. Research from the University of California, Berkeley, published in the Journal of Psychosomatic Research, showed that this practice not only improves sleep quality, but also increases next-day positive effect and cognitive flexibility. You are not just falling asleep. You are programming the emotional state that your brain will consolidate overnight. Your day starts the night before, and the quality of tomorrow's cognitive performance is being determined right now in the choices you make between dinner and sleep. Protect those hours with the same ferocity you bring to your morning, because without them, every other protocol in this book operates at half capacity. Now, we have covered every layer of the brain upgrade routine: dopamine management, the silence protocol, the morning battle, cognitive armor, identity congruence, the pressure forge, microscopic wins, the night maintenance protocol, 9 upgrades, 9 systematic changes to how your brain operates. But there is one final step, the most uncomfortable one. The one that will determine whether everything you have learned actually sticks or whether it fades into the graveyard of good intentions. In the final chapter, you're going to stand in front of a mirror, metaphorically, and confront the only question that truly matters. Chapter 10, The Mirror Test. This is the chapter most people will want to skip, and that is exactly why it is the most important one. Everything you have learned in this audiobook is a tool. Dopamine management, the silence protocol, the morning battle, cognitive armor, identity congruence, the pressure forge, microscopic wins, the night protocol. They are all tools, powerful tools, science-backed, systematically designed tools that will upgrade your brain's operating system if, and only if, you use them. But tools do not use themselves. And this is where the mirror test comes in. The mirror test is simple. It requires no equipment, no preparation, no app. It requires one thing: radical, unflinching honesty with yourself. Here's how it works. At the end of every week, you sit down, alone, in silence, with no phone and no distractions, and you answer 5 questions. Not quickly, not superficially. You sit with each one and you tell yourself the truth. Question 1. What did I do this week that the person I am committed to being would do? This is the identity congruence check. You are looking for evidence that you acted from identity, not from mood. Every instance where you did the hard thing despite not feeling like it is a data point that your new operating system is taking hold. Question 2. What did I avoid this week that I know I should have faced? This is the pressure principle audit. You are looking for the moments where you chose comfort over growth. Not to punish yourself, to see clearly, because you cannot fix what you refuse to see. Question 3. Where did I leak dopamine this week? The dopamine management review. You are identifying the moments where cheap rewards hijack your attention. The late-night scrolling sessions. The unscheduled phone checks. The moments where you reached for stimulation instead of sitting with discomfort. Question 4. Did I protect my mornings and my sleep? The structural audit. The morning battle and night protocol are the bookends of your day. If they are compromised, everything between them is compromised. Question 5. Does the evidence of my life, my bank account, my health, my relationships, my daily habits match the story I am telling myself? This is the hardest question, because this is where the excuses die. You can tell yourself any story you want about who you are. You can believe you are disciplined, ambitious, focused, driven. But the evidence does not lie. Your bank account is a record of your financial habits. Your body is a record of your physical habits. Your relationships are a record of your emotional habits. Your daily schedule is a record of your priorities. The mirror test forces you to look at the evidence, not the narrative. And for most people, the first time they do this honestly, it is painful, because the gap between the story and the evidence is often enormous. But I want to be direct with you here, because this is where the tough love matters most. Pain from self-deception is worse than pain from self-honesty. When you avoid the mirror, when you keep telling yourself the comfortable story, the gap between your potential and your reality does not stay the same. It grows. Every week that passes without honest self-assessment is a week where bad patterns deepen, where neural pathways of avoidance strengthen, where the operating system you are trying to upgrade slips further back toward its default settings. The mirror test is not punishment. It is maintenance. It is the weekly diagnostic that keeps your new operating system running clean. Just as your brain needs the night maintenance protocol to consolidate and clean, your behavioral system needs the mirror test to recalibrate and correct. And here's the beautiful part. The evidence changes. That pain, that discomfort of seeing clearly, is the most powerful fuel for change that exists. It is more powerful than motivation, because motivation fades. It is more powerful than accountability, because accountability can be dodged. The mirror test is you, alone, facing the undeniable truth of your own choices. No audience to perform for, no coach to impress, just you and the evidence. And here's the beautiful part. The evidence changes. It changes fast. When you implement even half of what you have learned in this audiobook, the evidence begins to shift within weeks. Your mornings look different. Your energy levels change. Your focus sharpens. Your dopamine is working for you instead of against you. And the next time you sit down for the mirror test, the gap is smaller. And the time after that, smaller still. I want you to think about something right now. Think about the version of you that exists 1 year from today if you implement even 70% of what is in this audiobook. Not perfectly, not flawlessly, 70%. That version of you wakes up without an alarm because their sleep architecture is dialed in. They own their morning. They work in focused, shielded blocks that produce more in 3 hours than their old self produced in a full day. They do not chase dopamine. They architect it. They do not announce their goals. They execute them in silence and let the results speak. They make decisions from identity, not from mood. They seek pressure instead of avoiding it. And when they sit down for the mirror test, the evidence matches the story. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is an engineering project. And you now have the blueprint. The person who practices the mirror test consistently does not need external validation. They do not need someone else to tell them they're doing well. They have the evidence. They can see it. And that self-generated proof is the foundation of unshakable confidence. Let me leave you with this. You did not listen to this audiobook by accident. Something in your life brought you here. Some gap between where you are and where you know you should be. Some frustration with the fog, the fatigue, the feeling that you are performing below your potential. That frustration is not a weakness. It is intelligence. It is your brain telling you that the current system is failing and a new one is needed. You now have that new system. Every protocol, every framework, every science-backed strategy for upgrading how your brain processes, decides, focuses, and recovers. The information is no longer the problem. Here is what I want you to do, and I want you to do it right now, as soon as this chapter ends. I want you to take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and write 3 things. First, your identity statement. I am the kind of person who. Finish it. Second, your tomorrow morning commitment. What time will the alarm go off, and what will you do in the first 90 minutes? Write it down. Third, your digital sunset time for tonight. What time do screens go dark? Write it down. These 3 decisions, made right now, in this moment, are not goals. They are the first 3 commands in your new operating system. They are the proof that you are not just listening. You are installing. The only question left is the one that separates the people who change from the people who just think about changing. And it is the simplest question in the world. Will you do the work? Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not when you feel ready. Right now. Tonight. Will you put the phone down 90 minutes before bed? Will you set your alarm and commit to the 6-second rule tomorrow morning? Will you write down your one identity statement? Will you protect your first 90 minutes? You do not need more information. You have had more information than any human generation in history, and it has not saved you. What you need is a new operating system, and the installation starts the moment you decide, not the moment you feel like it, the moment you decide. Remember what you learned. Moods are temporary. Identity is permanent. And the person you become on the other side of these 10 chapters is not built from feelings. They are built from decisions. Small, repeated, identity-aligned decisions that compound into a life that finally matches the vision you have been carrying in your head for years. The alarm will go off tomorrow morning. And in that moment, you will have a choice. 6 seconds. That is all. 6 seconds to decide whether you are the old operating system or the new one. Choose the upgrade. This is your brain upgrade. This is your routine. And this is the version of you that has been waiting on the other side of action. Go build it.